Today I'd like you to go to your emails and download this file that I emailed you. It's the Year 9 Environmental Folio template and it's a PDF file. Please save that to a VCD folder on OneDrive. Once you've done that, open Adobe Illustrator that you should have installed from last lesson and go File, Open. And open that file that you got sent. There we go. You can't double click that file open because it's a PDF file. Okay, now this is actually a template of your folio that's been set up for you. There are several artboards. All of them already have headings in them that are the stages of the design process, and there's a final presentation template at the end. When you first get into Illustrator, I need you to turn off the grid. I'm going to go hide grid. You might not have your grid on. Up on the top right hand corner, I want you to switch the workspace to Essentials Classic. So it's the little box up there. Okay, and now we're ready to go. Remind you of a few little things that you might have forgotten because you haven't used Illustrator since last year. On the left hand side, you've got your tool palette. There is the Type tool. There is the Shape tool. This is the selection tools up here. So there's a black arrow which you can select and move things around with. There's a white arrow which actually selects individual parts of things. Now there's also some swatches, things on the side here. We have color swatches and strokes over here. And across the top there's a lot of other menus as well with a lot of different functions. Now, if you want to actually move around in the space, you can zoom in and out with the magnifying glass. You can also go Command plus or minus. You can hold down the space bar and move left to right like this, or up and down. So everyone have a go of doing that. We're going to come up with something pretty beachy, but I want everyone's folios to look different. When we're designing folios in this subject, we normally have a heading, which is the stage of the design process, and something called a page stamp. The headings on each page should match. Now, I don't want anyone to actually use this default typeface that's in here. I want you all to have a go of actually changing the typeface. The way you can do that is you can actually select it with the black arrow. Across the top here, there's a type menu. You can click on here and you can go down and you can select a font that you think is appropriate to the theme of beach huts and the beach. And it's totally up to you what you come up with. Now, this one looks really good. It's a script font called Autumn in November. However, if you don't have a lot of fonts on your computer, what you can do is go to the internet. There's a few different free font libraries and you can actually do some searches for fonts such as script. And you can download fonts and install them onto your computer. Now, every computer is different, so you will actually have to Google how to do a font install for your specific computer. Once you've done that, you should be able to go in and find that font in the font menu somewhere. Okay, so you can move that font around. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can grab a corner toggle, hold down Shift and scale it up and down. Once you've done that, you might want to actually add a subheading, and the way you can do that is clicking on the Type tool, clicking on the artboard. Maybe you could write something like Beach Hut Design, and then you can actually choose a complementary font. If you've chosen a really sort of interesting font here, you might want to make this font a little bit plainer. Once you've done that, you might want to think about changing the color of these fonts. So over here on the swatch library, you can actually pick one of these standard fonts. However, if you wanted to change that to a slightly different color, you come over here, and as you can see, there is two shapes here. There's an outline. You can make outlines around things if you fill that with a color. You can get rid of the outline and you can double click on the fill and you can actually choose colors for your heading that are a little bit more interesting. Once you've chosen a colour that you like, you can actually drag that into your swatch palette, so you've got it there as a swatch. Now, some other ways that you can make your heading look really interesting is to add some design elements. You could add a shape, such as a circle. So you can draw circle shapes by holding down Shift. You can maybe go Object, Arrange, Center Back, so that it is actually behind your design. It's really important that you can actually read your heading. Another thing that you can do is go to the internet and type in a word. It could be something to do with the beach, and if you type in vector after it, you should come up with some high quality black and white images. Now, if you right click on these and go down copy image, go back to Illustrator and go edit, paste, they'll come into Illustrator. What we can do is we can actually live trace this, which is to vectorize it. Across the top here, if you've put yourself in Essentials Classic mode, you can click on the little arrow beside Image Trace and go down to Sketched Art. And it's actually turned it into a vector graphic, which is a hard-edged graphic. Then click Expand. And now this is something we can actually edit in Illustrator. So I can change the color of this. Now I could add a stroke around the edge if I wanted to, or I can just make it a really light color. So I might actually make this a really light blue. And I'm going to scale it right down. I could put this up here with my heading somehow. Like that. Or I might actually make it bigger and put it in the bottom right hand corner. And this will actually stay on every single page in the same spot. So this is live tracing a graphic to become a page stamp. Now, something else you can add is possibly a line or an outline around your design. You could do a swoosh. So this is the paintbrush tool here. You can actually draw wavy lines or beachy lines, like you might want to do a wave or something like that. And if you actually select that and go Window, go down all the way down the bottom to Brush Libraries, across to Artistic, and then down to something called Artistic Watercolor, you can actually change that to a really interesting watercolor swoosh shape, which you could put onto your design. So it's really important that you just add a couple of extra graphics to make your page look really good. Now we need to apply this artboard style to all of our artboards. And the way we do that is we get our page stamp, we click on it, we can go Edit, Copy, and then we click on the next artboard, hold down the space bar and drag it across. And if we go Edit, Paste in Place, it's actually going to land in exactly the same spot on that artboard. If I was just to go Edit, Paste, it could end up anywhere. But if I go Paste in Place, it goes into exactly the same spot. Paste in Place, and over here, Edit, Paste in Place. Now we need to do the same thing, but with the headings. So using our black arrow to select, go Edit, Copy, and go Edit, Paste in Place. Edit, Paste in Place. Now I'm actually going to drag that heading away, and I'm going to type over the top using the type tool into this heading, ID generation. I'm going to do that for all of these headings. So there's only a couple more to do. We've got ID development. Make sure, please, that you are spelling your headings correctly. And finish with idea refinement. And that's all I need for you guys to do today. Thank you so much.